Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world full of noise. A world where everyone has an opinion, and sometimes it feels like there's no escape from the constant chatter. Every day we're bombarded with messages, advice, and conversations that tell us to share, open up, and let others know what's going on inside of us. While this might seem comforting or even necessary, there is an important truth that we often overlook. Don't tell people your problems. In today's fast-paced world where information flows freely and everyone seems to have an opinion, there is an increasing pressure to share our lives with others. Social media platforms, casual conversations, and even professional environments encourage us to open up and share our experiences. While sharing can sometimes help us build connections or gain support, it also comes with a significant cost. The constant need to explain ourselves and express our vulnerabilities can slowly erode our sense of inner peace and security. There is a quiet power in holding back, in preserving certain parts of ourselves, and in choosing carefully whom we allow into our most intimate spaces. Protecting your peace by sharing less can be one of the most empowering choices you make. When we share too much with others, especially in moments of distress, we often seek validation or sympathy. We may be looking for someone to confirm that what we're feeling is justified, to tell us that it's okay to be upset, or even to provide a solution to our problems. However, this external validation rarely leads to true peace. Instead, it can make us dependent on others for our emotional well-being, leaving us vulnerable to disappointment when the response is not what we expected. People, no matter how well-intentioned, cannot always offer the reassurance or understanding that we crave. Sometimes their responses can even make the situation worse, either by dismissing our feelings, offering advice that doesn't resonate, or simply not understanding the depth of what we're going through. This external validation trap can become a cycle. The more we share, the more we rely on others to make us feel better, and the less we trust ourselves to navigate our own emotions. We begin to look to the outside world for answers instead of trusting our own ability to heal and solve problems. In contrast, by choosing to share less and preserve our peace, we begin to reclaim control over our emotional state. We learn that it is okay not to seek approval, that it is enough to feel what we feel without needing someone else to validate it. This internal peace comes from within and does not depend on others' opinions or reactions. Furthermore, constantly sharing our problems can lead to a kind of emotional depletion. When we open up too frequently, especially to people who may not have the emotional capacity to understand or respond in a constructive way, we risk feeling exposed or even drained. Sometimes others may not respond the way we hope. The matgavad wadant swantakaman comfortable with ukmatbanzo and gussabobak strugglers, thus mational exaspen can lover us for long vulnerable and unprotected as though we've given over to much of our soul. The more we share, the more we risk encountering people who may not handle our emotions with the care they deserve. In contrast, by guarding our peace and being selective about what we share and with whom we protect ourselves from the risks of exposure. Wapruziva ukpamutional and muksha that one wada up and up. Others to someone has the emotional maturity to handle vulnerability. The meaningful kunuk ones with us how true kavabdiv sapuding us with a drinning us. Das relut van ships, balt on mural respect and understanding. Crude our sense of safety while we're done full and to constantly defend our souls. Sharing less doesn't mean being dishonest or hiding our true selves. It simply means recognizing that not every emotion or experience needs to be shared with everyone we encounter. There is strength in choosing to keep certain things to ourselves, to deal with them internally, and to approach them with a level of self-awareness that only we can provide. We begin to trust our intuition and inner wisdom more, knowing that we have the tools within us to navigate life's challenges as Additionally, protecting our peace by sharing less can help us create a clearer boundary between our internal world and the external world. In a society where it's easy to get lost in other people's expectations and judgments, creating these boundaries is essential for maintaining our sense of self. But not of action will create space for reflect, but that this has an influence of others. Thus, bando protects our sense of identity, allowing us to grow stronger, more resilient, and more confident on our contusions. Moreover, not jumping over is can give us the space we need to think through problems with that external pressure on interference. When we constantly take buttercushes with others, we risk letting the perspectives influence again. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is to give ourselves the time and space to think about it independently without the distraction of others' opinions. By keeping certain things to ourselves, we allow ourselves to explore different solutions and approaches without feeling the need to explain or justify our thoughts to anyone. This introspection leads to greater clarity and self-assurance as we begin to trust our own judgment and problem-solving skills more deeply. Furthermore, preserving our peace by sharing less also helps to reduce unnecessary drama and complications in our relationships. People are not always capable of handling our issues with the care and sensitivity they require. Sometimes sharing too much can lead to misunderstandings, miscommunications, or even conflict. One will hold back will older rulu chaps to develop naturally. What the thoughts added what emotional back. We can engage with others from our plus of strength and stability, Reiki, than from our plus of vulnerability and emotional need. Another aspect of sharing less involves prioritizing our time and energy. We live in a world where everyone is busy and our time is one of our most precious resources. When we spend time explaining our problems to others, we may be diverting attention away from the things that truly matter, such as focusing on solutions, taking action, or simply enjoying the present moment. By choosing to share less, we free up mental and emotional space to focus on what truly brings us peace. Whether that's working on personal growth, pursuing our goals, or simply being present with those we care about. Additionally, the act of protecting your peace by sharing less encourages us to develop emotional resilience. Instead of relying on others to make us feel better, we learn to face challenges head-on, trusting ourselves to handle whatever life throws our way. It is through this self-reliance that we build our inner strength, not from external validation or sympathy, but from the knowledge that we are capable of weathering storms on our own. When we give ourselves the space to grow emotionally, we build a deeper sense of confidence in our ability to manage our feelings and our circumstances. By protecting our peace and sharing less, we begin to redefine what it means to be strong and resilient. Trust strengthens not from ha, much with us now but us, but from Okabuti to Raman Sunkut and grunded in this fuss of city. Wadunda to explain you rabidud struggles to burn castide, and wadunda to rule on others to solve our problems. Power to navigate lost challenges rust within us, and samiums, this must upon thing, what can does to cup certain things to ourselves trusting that we have eruption of folks. In the modern world, it's easy to get caught up in the belief that we need others to confirm our worth, understand our struggles, or offer a solution to our problems. We're constantly encouraged to share our experiences, our frustrations, and our challenges. In many ways, society has conditioned us to seek external validation, to turn to others for the reassurance that what we're going through is valid, that our feelings are justified, and that there is someone out there who understands. However, the reality is that true strength does not come from the validation of others, but from within ourselves. Strength comes from within, not from external validation. When we constantly seek validation from others, we place our emotional well-being in their hands. This makes us vulnerable to the opinions and judgments of those around us. The trouble is, people's reactions are unpredictable. One person might offer sympathy, another might downplay our feelings, and yet another might try to offer advice that doesn't resonate with us. Even those who care deeply about us can't always give us the understanding or support we need. They may not fully grasp the complexity of our emotions or the depth of our struggles. When we rely too heavily on others for validation, we risk undermining our own sense of inner strength and confidence. We begin to look outward for the answers to problems that we should be solving internally, and we lose sight of our own ability to cope. At its core, external validation is a temporary fix. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a wound without addressing the root cause. Validation from others may give us a brief sense of relief, but it doesn't lead to lasting peace or growth. In fact, it can often make us feel worse, especially when the validation doesn't meet our expectations. Seeking validation may also mean that we're not truly addressing our emotions and the underlying issues that cause them. Instead of working through our emotions and finding ways to heal, we become dependent on others to fix things for us. But healing comes from within. It comes from the quiet moments of reflection, from facing our struggles head-on, and from learning to navigate the challenges life throws at us on our own. When we start relying more on our inner strength than on external validation, we develop a more profound sense of self-awareness. We learn to sit with our emotions and understand them without needing to explain them to others. This doesn't mean we should bottle everything up or never share our feelings. It means we recognize that our emotions are valid even when others don't understand them or offer the comfort we desire. We begin to trust that we can handle whatever comes our way, even if we have to face it alone. By not depending on external validation, we open up space for personal growth. We stop relying on others to define how we should feel or what we should do. And we begin to make decisions based on what feels right for us. There is also a deeper level of confidence that comes from learning to rely on ourselves. When we constantly turn to others for reassurance, we tell ourselves that we aren't capable of making the right decisions or solving our own problems. This belief over time chips away at our confidence. It makes us question our instincts, our judgment, and our abilities. However, when we start trusting our own insights and experiences, we build confidence in our capacity to navigate life. We begin to see that we don't need others to tell us what to do or how to feel. We can trust ourselves to move through difficulties, make tough decisions, and grow stronger in the process. The reliance on external validation also makes us more susceptible to the influence of other people's opinions. This can lead us to act in ways that aren't authentic to who we are, simply because we want to fit in or please others. If we allow others to dictate our emotions, our actions, and our sense of self-worth, we lose touch with our true selves. We start doing things because they're expected of us, not because they align with our values or desires. Over time, this can leave us feeling disconnected from our own sense of identity. We may become overwhelmed with the pressure to meet other people's expectations, and in doing so, lose the ability to discern what's truly important to us. True strength comes when we have the courage to stand firm in our own beliefs and values, regardless of whether or not others agree. It's about knowing who we are, what we want, and what we stand for without needing anyone else's approval. When we stop seeking external validation, we also stop letting other people's judgments or criticisms affect our sense of self-worth. We stop letting other people's opinions determine our happiness or dictate our choices. This kind of internal strength allows us to move through life with more peace, confidence, and clarity. Additionally, relying on our inner strength fosters resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and there will always be moments when things don't go as planned. When we look to others for validation, we may find ourselves lost or uncertain when they don't provide the support or reassurance we expect. But when we trust in our own strength, we become more adaptable. We learn to weather storms without needing someone else to hold our hand. Resilience comes from knowing that even when things go wrong, we have the ability to handle the situation and come out the other side stronger. It's not about avoiding challenges, but about developing the confidence to face them head-on and trust that we will find a way through. The more we rely on ourselves for strength, the more empowered we become. We realize that we are capable of much more than we initially thought. We stop seeking validation because we no longer need it to feel good about ourselves. Our self-worth is no longer tied to what others think of us. We become less affected by criticism, rejection, or failure. We understand that these are simply part of the process, not reflections of our worth. Instead of seeking to be validated by others, we find validation in our own progress, our own growth, and our own ability to stay true to who we are. Of course, this doesn't mean that we should isolate ourselves or shut out others completely. It's essential to have people we trust and who can offer support, especially during tough times. However, the key is to not make our emotional well-being dependent on their approval. The people who truly care about us will understand our need for space and will respect our desire to find our own path. They will be there to support us, not to solve our problems or validate our feelings. This kind of relationship is built on mutual respect, not on the need for constant reassurance. By finding strength within ourselves, we empower not only our emotional health, but also our ability to make decisions and take action in the world. We stop second-guessing ourselves and become more decisive, more self-assured. When we no longer need others to tell us what to do or how to feel, we start taking control of our own lives. This empowerment leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment as we realize that we are in charge of our own destiny. Ultimately, strength doesn't come from the approval of others. It comes from knowing who we are, accepting ourselves as we are, and having the confidence to face the challenges of life without needing someone else's permission or affirmation. When we learn to rely on our inner strength, we free ourselves from the need to constantly seek validation. In doing so, unlock a more authentic, resilient, and empowered version of ourselves. As we reach the conclusion of this conversation, it's essential to reflect on the core messages that have been shared. Throughout this discussion, we've explored two powerful concepts: the idea that we should protect our peace by sharing less, and the understanding that true strength comes from within, not from external validation. These are not merely ideas to ponder, but practices that, when adopted, can lead to a profound transformation in how we approach life's challenges. In a world where we are constantly encouraged to seek validation, to share every little detail of our lives, and to rely on others for emotional support, embracing these principles can provide a sense of liberation, inner peace, and personal growth. When we say protect your peace by sharing less, we are not advocating for isolation or for suppressing emotions. Rather, it's about exercising discernment in how we share our struggles and with whom. It's about recognizing that not everyone around us deserves access to our vulnerabilities. It's about choosing carefully who we let into our emotional space and understanding that some challenges are ours to face and solve without needing to broadcast them to the world. This act of restraint doesn't diminish the value of our emotions. Instead, it elevates our ability to deal with them in a way that fosters resilience, clarity, and strength. By sharing less, we regain control over our emotional narrative. We stop looking for approval or sympathy from others and start trusting in our ability to navigate difficulties independently. This creates a sense of peace as we begin to realize that we are capable of handling life's ups and downs without needing validation or external support at every turn. At the heart of this is the notion of self-reliance. When we stop seeking validation from others, we shift the focus back to ourselves, to our inner world where the true power resides. We learn to trust our instincts, make decisions based on our values, and find strength within, rather than relying on others to give us permission to feel or act in certain ways. This doesn't mean rejecting support or refusing to open up when it's necessary. But it does mean recognizing that our true strength lies not in how others respond to us, but in how we respond to ourselves. We become more grounded, more self-aware, and more capable of handling life with confidence. True strength, as we've learned, isn't found in external sources. It's cultivated within, through our own actions, thoughts, and perseverance. The second key idea we discussed was that true strength comes from within. It's easy to get caught up in the belief that others' approval is what makes us worthy or strong. We are often conditioned to believe that if others validate our choices, if they affirm our emotions, then we are on the right path. However, when we rely on external validation, we give away our power. We make our sense of self-worth contingent on the opinions and reactions of others, and in doing so, we place ourselves at the mercy of their judgments. The problem with this is that people's opinions are often fleeting and unreliable. Even the most well-meaning people can misjudge our situations, offer unhelpful advice, or make assumptions about what we need. When we allow our strength to be defined by others, we end up in a perpetual state of uncertainty, constantly questioning our choices and actions based on what others think. True strength, however, comes from a deep sense of self-awareness and self-acceptance. It comes from the understanding that we are enough as we are, that we don't need anyone's approval to validate our worth. It's about having the courage to make decisions that align with our values, even when others might disagree. It's about knowing that we can face challenges, endure hardships, and persevere through adversity without needing someone else to tell us we're doing it right. This inner strength is rooted in the belief that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way, that we have the resilience to rise up after setbacks, and that we don't need anyone's permission to feel our feelings or pursue our goals. As we continue to navigate the complexities of life, it's important to remember that both of these ideas are interconnected. By protecting our peace and sharing less, we create the space for this inner strength to flourish. When we no longer seek external validation, we are better equipped to face life's challenges with clarity and purpose. We begin to make decisions based on what we truly believe is right for us, rather than what others expect or approve of. We also become more attuned to our own needs, desires, and emotions, recognizing that we are the only ones who can truly understand and address them. The journey towards self-reliance and inner strength is not always easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments when we question our choices or wonder if we should seek advice from others. There will be times when we feel vulnerable and unsure, and the temptation to reach out for validation will feel overwhelming. However, it is precisely in these moments remember the power of standing firm in our own strength. We must trust that we have the tools within us to navigate these moments of uncertainty, and that by relying on ourselves, we can weather any storm. Every time we choose not to seek validation, every time we decide to keep something to ourselves and process it internally, we are strengthening our ability to rely on our own inner resources. It's also important to recognize that this journey is unique for each individual. Some people may find it easier to rely on their inner strength, while others may take longer to cultivate it. The key is to be patient with ourselves, to give ourselves grace as we learn to trust our own judgment and navigate life with greater independence. There will be times when we will need others for support, and that's okay. However, we must remember that the foundation of our strength lies within us, and it is only by turning inward that we can truly grow stronger. Ultimately, the freedom that comes from protecting our peace and embracing our inner strength is unparalleled. We no longer need to seek approval or validation from others to feel secure in who we are. We no longer need to share every detail of our struggles with others to prove that they are real. Instead, we can face life with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that we are enough, just as we are. This is the kind of strength that cannot be taken away by the opinions of others or the challenges we face. It is the kind of strength that lasts, the kind that allows us to move through life with grace, resilience, and peace. So as you leave here today, I encourage you to reflect on these ideas and see where you can begin to implement them in your own life. Ask yourself how you can protect your peace by sharing less, and how you can cultivate a deeper sense of inner strength by relying less on external validation. The journey may not always be easy, but the rewards of living a life grounded in self-reliance and inner peace are immeasurable. By trusting yourself and honoring your own emotional boundaries, you can create a life that is truly your own, one that is not dictated by others, but shaped by the quiet power that lies within.